Story 1. Depressed individuals often do not want to hear phrases like, just snap out of it, or others have it worse. Story 2. You cannot help, and often anything you do to support that person will not succeed. All you can do is be there while they heal. Most people find it difficult to sit with someone in darkness. Story 3. Have you tried exercising? Exercise gets those endorphins moving. Perhaps you should try getting some more sunshine. Vitamin D can help you feel better. You might think I don't feel bad sometimes. You may believe my life is harder than yours. I don't know what to tell you, but here's how you're affecting me. A better alternative is, I'm sorry you're feeling this way. I love you. Do you want to talk about it? Story 4.1. Have you tried meditating? What about a better diet? All you need to do is exercise or lift weights. Journaling is the answer. Therapy. Find a good therapist. Story 5. People who have never experienced clinical depression often rely on their experiences with situational depression to offer advice. This can be frustrating because they may not understand the difference. Some examples of unhelpful advice include, just give it time. Think positive thoughts. Go for a walk. Any advice that begins with, when I was depressed, is often not beneficial. Story 6. Other people have it worse. Comparing pain doesn't make anyone feel better. It only adds guilt to what they are already carrying. Story 7. There are plenty of cliché phrases that can be irritating. It will be okay. It's not that bad. It will all be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And time heals all wounds are some examples. Also, there are comments that are meant to be half-heartedly motivational. If someone tells me that I would feel better if I let some light in as they open my curtains, or suggests I go for a walk, or says I would feel better if I did something productive, it doesn't help. When I'm depressed, I don't necessarily want to be alone, but I don't want people around asking me to talk about it either. If you're trying to be there for me, just come in, sit down, and be quiet. You can play on your phone or something. When I want to talk about it, it will come out of nowhere. Story 8. Do you think you have a right to be depressed? Sure, events X, Y, and Z happened, but you're only 30. I'm 60 years old, and look at all the challenges I have faced. Yet I am not depressed. Thank you, Mom. Love you. Story 9. Just go exercise. Not everyone experiences a runner's high, and even if you do, it is just another temporary relief from the suffering we are dealing with. Without addressing the underlying issues and problems causing that suffering, it does not really help in the long run. Sure, it helps me stay healthier, but now I am just healthy and depressed instead of unhealthy and depressed. Story 10. Just smile. It's not that bad. There are people who have it much worse. All the while, I'm standing there with blood seeping out of the words, kill me, which I carved into both legs in a futile attempt to avoid lashing out violently and hurting the ones I love, no matter how much they hate me. Story 11. You would feel better if you exercised or ate a vegetable or went for a walk. I am keenly aware of that, but depression makes those things almost impossible to do. Exercise and a healthy diet will help your mental health, but unfortunately, mental health challenges make doing those things very difficult. There are many steps between depression and feeling well enough to eat a proper meal. Story 12. I once had a family member call the police for a wellness check on me. The officer told me to suck it up, be a man in a condescending manner. If he weren't armed and twice my size, I might have confronted him. Story 13. When they say, I will never understand why you think this way, there are many reasons. First, my mind feels as if it is infected with negative thoughts. Every day feels like a gamble. Will it go well or not? My life might never improve, so perhaps I should stop gambling and leave the metaphorical casino. The most significant reason is that the people who claim they cannot understand my depression are often some of the main contributors to it. Story 14. Get out of bed and open a window. It's difficult because changing your environment in small ways is proven to help, but when you're in a major depressive episode, it can be one of the hardest things to do, and it feels like just another be positive suggestion. Story 15. It will be okay. I was never depressed. Thank God for that. However, I don't think depressed individuals, especially those who are suicidal, consider a positive future. They might think you are ignorant. Story 16. Other people have it worse. Sometimes it can help individuals feel grateful, but depression is not about being ungrateful. Often, it feels invalidating to your emotional pain. Story 17. Any advice, no matter how useful or easy, is just another thing to fail at. Either they don't take action, and it's their fault that they're still feeling down, or they try and don't feel any better, which leads them to believe they are somehow defective, and that's why nothing seems to help. Please avoid setting someone who is feeling low up for failure. Story 18. Just be happy. It is not hard. You have everything you need. As if depression is a choice or cares about your social status. Also, I do not have everything I need. Story 19. Most people with depression want to hear words that make them feel they can express anything to you. However, it's not that simple. Even if you manage to establish a level of trust, they may depend heavily on you, and you must bear that weight even when it becomes exhausting. You essentially agree to become a caretaker for someone who feels lost, and you cannot show any signs of being unable to support them, or they will lose trust and find themselves in a deeper emotional state. This is why depression is so insidious. It often takes a community of kind, empathetic, and understanding individuals to truly help someone overcome depression. Most of the time, the person experiencing depression feels isolated and has to learn to cope with their own burdens. Story 20. When you are depressed, you feel unreachable, and advice doesn't make sense. Your mind and body are struggling. People try to be well-meaning, but they often end up feeling resentful because you do not seem to want to help yourself. You do not want advice, you already know it. If you could, you would follow it. What you truly seek is acceptance, but some people cannot tolerate the discomfort of others. Story 21. It's only temporary, not when you have a number of medical issues to manage daily, which is one of the main causes of depression. Story 22. Just go for a walk and get some fresh air. That's the least helpful suggestion in the world. I can't crawl out of bed, take a shower, or even brush my teeth. You expect me to put on a bra and walk around? No way. Story 23. Quote from my mother. Depression is a waste of time. I didn't choose to be depressed. Story 24. I have been feeling deeply depressed since I was a child. Many people assume I am faking it, often mistaking my state for seasonal dislike. They have no idea what it truly means to feel melancholy, as if life is incessantly punishing you with a brain that feels like it is sabotaging itself. I am currently on a trip of a lifetime, yet I still experience the same feelings I had during my regular routine at home. This is not a choice. My brain simply does not produce the right chemicals. Hearing advice like needing some sunshine, snapping out of it, or just requiring therapy and medication, which I have been pursuing for about 7 years, does not help. I still have difficult days with my mental health. Pretending to be okay has led to nothing but misunderstandings about my struggles. Story 25. Most people want to be truly heard, and that may take time for them to untangle and express their thoughts. Provide short prompts, then listen and remember what is said. Story 26. You need more exercise, sleep, and a better diet. You need to remove obstacles in your path. It's important to address your negativity. Focus on thinking positive thoughts. Story 27. Just eat healthy and exercise. I already do both of those things. While they help make things feel less intense, the benefits are often overstated. Even when everything was perfect and I was at my healthiest, I still felt miserable. It's neurological. Story 28. It gets better. I know it does. The problem isn't that it will be like this forever. It's that I'm struggling now. Story 29. I was in the same position as you. You just have to motivate yourself to be better. This friend also said, when I was depressed, I turned to religion, and then I realized other people have it worse, so I shouldn't be depressed. I have everything. I'm not sick. I have my siblings and my parents, and I have friends. While this perspective seemed positive, I couldn't find happiness in those things, as some of them were contributing to my problems. Another friend told me, just watch this video. It will help. However, that friend eventually left me when I was going through a deep depression due to heavy academic pressure. Story 30. If you start a sentence with, "Have you tried?" it's best not to finish it. It is okay to help people access treatment from professionals. Anything else is between that professional and the individual. The kind of thing someone did for me was to show up late in the day, make sure I ate something, and ensure I saw people that day. Story 31. Things will get better. You do not know that. You do not know anything other than the fact that the person in front of you requires external stimulus, not from you, for their brain to begin to recover. Get them a doctor and be quiet. Story 32. Just try therapy can be insensitive when said to someone who cannot afford it, especially when financial issues significantly contribute to their depression. Story 33. You should go exercise. I can't even get out of bed when I'm in a depression spiral, and you want me to go work out? I have dishes stacked in the sink. I haven't washed my clothes in 2 weeks, and my last shower was 5 days ago. Do you really think I have the ability to go work out right now? Story 34. Pray about it. Not everyone is religious. Maybe someone prays already, and it doesn't make a difference. Don't tell me that a higher power doesn't give me more than I can handle. Story 35. Advice in general. I know people mean well, but when I'm depressed, there's not a single bit of advice that I haven't already considered. If you want to help someone who is depressed, ask them how they're feeling. Let them talk it out if they want, or offer to take things off their plate such as chores, errands, babysitting, or pet sitting. Offer to take them out to eat, bring them food, or have their favorite food delivered. You can also send them a gift card for a rental or to go out to a movie. Ask them to hang out, visit a museum, or attend another event. If they decline any of these offers, don't take it personally or make them feel guilty. Don't try to force them. Just give them some time and offer again later. Story 36. I went on a date once with a guy. Earlier that day, my parents got into a physical fight that I witnessed. I was going through a bad depressive episode in my life and was drinking a lot, which is how I met him. I tried to get out of the date and didn't give him all the details, but I mentioned my mental state wasn't good. He ended up heavily guilting me into going. When I arrived, I found out he had invited his friend. I sat down, and he asked, "What's up? Why so blue?" I told him, "My parents are abusive, and it's hard to witness." He responded, "You have a roof over your head?" I said, "Yeah." He asked, "Money?" I replied, "Some." He then asked, "A bed to sleep in?" I answered, "Sure." His response was, "Then get over it." I ghosted him after the date, especially after he requested I drive him home. This happened years ago, and it still frustrates me when I think about it. How invalidating. Story 37. Hey, do you want to hang out? What are you doing this weekend? Will you visit? How are you? Story 38. You aren't sick. You were spoiled. You think you have it bad? There are people going through real problems. Depression is a real thing. My life is difficult too, but you don't hear me complain. Did you take medication? I think you should save it for your therapist. Get some sun. It's the phone. I have too many. Story 39. What a sad or depressed person really needs is to be told their problems are significant. Try saying their problems aren't a big deal. Oh boy, watch out. They will become even sadder and angrier. Story 40. Why don't you call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline? It's a call center. Do you think working with a call center helps? Then why don't you call your insurance company or student loan servicers when you feel sad? You mean automated phone systems and underpaid representatives who follow scripts and strict time limits don't lift your spirits? Then why do you think they would help me? Story 41. Your solutions. We are not unintelligent, but when you instruct us on what to do, especially when it seems simple, it can make us feel less capable. Often, we understand what needs to be done, we just struggle to execute it. Remember, we are all different. Story 42. Meeting the person where they are matters greatly. Many of these suggestions would be helpful as I deal with chronic low mood. However, during the depths of depression, they would have frustrated me. I have no desire to even get out of bed, and you want me to go for a run? That's unreasonable. Story 43. Reading through the comments makes me feel uneasy. It seems like I shouldn't say anything. I feel unable to help, but if I don't talk to the person, they will feel alone. Won't they? Story 44. Have you had a cup of tea? Or maybe try a bath? Sure, I'll have a bath, but let me just bring a toaster in there with me. Story 45. Just smile more. It will make you feel better. Even a fake smile can be challenging when in the depths of depression, so disregard that idea. Story 46. Do not take medication from someone who has never been on medication before. This is the devil's advocate perspective of every bully or dysfunctional person. Focus on your feelings rather than disregarding what others have done. Story 47. Everyone has bad days. Well, I feel bad too. You'll get over it. That's life. You should be thankful. My sister literally destroyed our relationship with such phrases. I spent the last couple of years trying to rebuild my life after an abusive relationship, spending at least a year in solid darkness when I realized she was judging me. She even said, "I have no empathy for you," because she didn't understand how I ended up in an abusive relationship. She has a great marriage, and her husband puts up with anything from her and always supports her. She's never been in a relationship where she had to call the police or was afraid she might die, never mind being insulted and belittled. Then she further belittled me for caving in on myself and my trauma responses, which I really couldn't help. Even when I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, she rolled her eyes. But with our narcissistic mother, who is a giant spoiled brat, she falls over herself to indulge her and be patient. That's the part that hurts the worst. To know she is capable of it, capable of empathy and patience, but she won't show it to me. Family is so often the worst place to be when you are hurting. Story 48. I am unfortunately not joking. Staring into the sun will help you. I was also told it would cure my asthma. Story 49. Everyone goes through life at a different pace. It will be okay. Thank you, Nancy. However, right now, the journey of life seems quite bleak, and there is no pace that makes any of it feel worth continuing. Story 50. As a psychologist, my clients and friends often share the hurtful things said to them over the years, which range from unhelpful to emotionally damaging. Here are a few examples. Have you tried starting your day by simply enjoying the smell of your coffee? Try small changes each day, like adding peas to your pasta to make things a little different. Have you spent time appreciating nature? One of my clients goes out to look at her daffodils every day, and it lifts her mood. We're never given more than we can handle. This will pass. Things will improve. God needed him more than you did. After the death of a child. You're so sad. I wish you weren't sad all the time. You are choosing not to get better. Have you considered just not feeling depressed? Like pretending until you feel better? Story 51. You will have to power through it. This was said to a friend by her psychiatrist, and I am still furious thinking about how dismissive and unhelpful that was. Story 52. You'll feel better tomorrow. Just get an early night. I can't even face the thought of tomorrow, let alone change into pajamas and brush my teeth in front of a mirror. Then I would have to lie in bed with all my thoughts. No thanks. I'll cuddle with the dog. He understands me. Story 53. It will get better. I have been hearing that since I was 13. I'm 40 now, and not once has it ever gotten better. Please stop giving depressed people false hope. I'm sure there are strong individuals who make it out of the darkness, and they are the true heroes, but not everyone will. It's unnerving to hear this constantly for years. Story 54. This is all God's plan. Okay, well, he's inconsiderate for putting me through this. What does he have to do with it anyway? Story 55. I once had a supervisor at work say, "You aren't the only one who has suffered. I'm transgender and neurodivergent, dealing with anxiety and depression comorbid with obsessive-compulsive disorder and attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder." I was quite angry about that. Another phrase that frustrates me is, medication is a sign of weakness, or you don't need medication. That's just doctors, big pharmaceutical companies, or the government trying to sell you something or control you. Trust me, medicine works. Not for everyone, but it does help some people. Then there's the alternative suggestion. You just need this specific medication. When I explain that medications don't cure depression, they just make it more bearable. Sure, whatever you say. You must know what it's like because you had depression once and got over it. No, you were sad or depressed because of your divorce or loss. You did not experience true depression. Sigh. Story 56. Just go for a walk. I could barely get out of bed. I hate to admit it, but regular exercise did wonders for my mental health. However, during those depressive times, it felt like the most unhelpful advice. Story 57. I'm truly sorry to bring the mood down. I'm recovering from surgery and won't be able to work for another 2 to 3 months. I have a medical fundraising campaign set up. I'm struggling to eat and to get my antibiotics. It brings me to tears to receive messages like, "Your story touched my heart, and I would love to help and support your campaign." But they are all just automated responses. Thank you for understanding. Story 58. Get outside more. You will feel better. If you felt good enough to go out, you would not be depressed. Story 59. I think, for the most part, a good rule of thumb is that unless people ask directly for advice, it is best to be quiet and listen. You don't know how many times I've had to sit and listen to speeches about all the things I should be doing to help my mental state. This made things worse because I barely had any energy to get out of bed. At my worst point, I was sleeping 22 hours a day and dropped to under 86 pounds due to a lack of appetite, so I really just couldn't find the motivation to do yoga or go for a jog. It also made me feel incredibly guilty and broken because other people seemed to have it so easy. They could simply go outside for a walk and feel better. What was wrong with me that I did those things and felt the same, if not worse? It was my close friends who showed me the real difference. They would sit with me in silence until I was ready to talk. They'd check in to see how I was feeling, ask if I wanted to go out with them to the grocery store, the library, or just for a quick errand at the post office, saying, "You don't need to leave the car. I'll just be in and out quickly." If I didn't feel like going, no big deal. They would check in with me when they got home. It's hard to put into words, but they treated me like a human being going through a rough time who just needed companionship and support, not a case to be diagnosed and cured. I wish I could express this more concisely. I know that most people's first instinct is to jump into action and try to solve the problem, especially when depression is paired with self-harm or suicidal thoughts. However, most people are not trained professionals, and mental illness is not something that simply goes away like a broken leg. Story 60. You are obviously looking for advice on how to talk to someone you care about. The truth is that people with depression don't want you to talk. They want you to listen. If you want to prompt the conversation, do it away from others and ask how they are. You'll probably get, "I'm good." Respond with some form of, "No, how are you really? Are you having dark thoughts?" Just be prepared. The answer might be harder to hear than you think, but it might save your loved one. I'm glad you are asking. People need to reach out more. Story 61. You just need to get outdoors. That is the point. I'm depressed. I don't want to go for a walk. The sky does nothing for me. I am feeling down. Story 62. The truth is that people often dwell in depression because starting anything feels impossible. I limit myself to helping others by extending a hand once, twice, or sometimes 3 times. After that, I am done. It becomes tiring when you realize that people either lack the mental strength or are avoiding their trauma. Reality is heavy, cold, and exhausting. It's life. Find something to enjoy or don't. Sitting around hoping someone will come to save you will not help. People say everyone has a little depression because it is often misunderstood. Clinical depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain, which can be present from birth or develop during early life stages. It is both hereditary and can be acquired. Story 63. Eating healthily, drinking water, and engaging in exercise will help. You may not want to hear it, but it truly makes a difference. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.